This is, of course, flooding and raging, but as you can see, it can go higher, and it does go higher. And when you turn around, you're going to see the house that is most threatened by the impending flooding due to all the concrete that they want to lay next to the impervious surface next to the creek, and all the bridges that they're proposing making is going to back up the water upstream. And these homes, who are my neighbors, this house in particular is at the lowest point. It's going to go right into her basement, because it does get higher than this. It really gets higher. But this is pretty good representation right now.
Hi, I'm Barbara Wren, and I live at 615 Bluffdale Drive. This is my yard. This is my sanctuary. And we feel like it might be threatened because we're the low point of the neighborhood, and if this floods, my house could flood. My house has been here for 54 years, and I feel like if it hasn't flooded to this point, that it shouldn't flood. And the only thing that can make it do that is either more upstream development, or if they put restrictions on the stream that will make the water rise and back up this way. So we'd like to see it remain the way it is, and we'd like to see the geese fly through here and the herons, and see the fox occasionally, and we don't want to see it turn into a concrete ditch like the Flat Branch Creek. So we just want to help preserve it the best we can. Okay, when the creek has come up to its highest point, it cuts across that corner down there of that fence, has cut across here, came up into this area here, and you can see where the grass is even a different color because there's been polluted water. Cover this for a couple of days. It's come over the driveway, follows the driveway down, and cuts back across the neighbor's yard down there. But this has been the high water mark up here. It's not far from my house, and it's not far from backing up into my basement there. So we don't want to see it get any higher than what it's been.
Wanted to make sure that you saw that this is the magnificent sponge at work. This is all a swampy area. I imagine it's a form of wetland. As you can see, it's full of water. This is the trail. The trucks drive through here in order to service the sewage line, which is running all along here. There's a gas line that runs underneath here. All of this is really pretty precarious to be building a cement, 10-foot cement trail on top of it. The only alternative that they have would be to go over here and knock out these trees, which there are dwindling few. There's the few that are left that are keeping the entire bank of the Hinkson Creek from completely collapsing. So what I'm proposing is that we leave the trails the way they are, mow them so people can walk, but when it's raining like this, respect the process. This is part of the drainage system that Mother Nature has put in here for a good reason. And give it a day or two before you plan your field trip, or come for a field trip when it's flooded like this. It's so interesting to see what is going on.
My name's Darren Blakemore. This is my wife Brenda. We live at 723 Bluffdale Drive, which is going to be the trailhead of the new PedNet project. Their first phase is to put a trail right here, right by my mailbox. There's going to be access to 60,000 people or better every day, which is normally a dead-end street. We've been very private for 40 years plus, and we're of course not very happy about it. We want it to remain a cul-de-sac. We do not want a main street with traffic flowing back and forth through here, whether it's on a bike, car, foot, anything. And it's going to go ahead and cut right across my yard and go link up with the University of Missouri. There's a lot of wildlife back here that's going to be affected by it. Almost every night there's 10 to 15 deer that congregate. I have a salt block down there and they congregate in this area, and that'll be all over with when they put the trail in, the bridge, which in result is we're gonna have an apartment complex up there that's gonna be a result of this, and it's just gonna be all said and done for the animals, I'm afraid. And of course our privacy is a big concern. So
traffic, emergency vehicles, if we do have to have people parked along the side of the street for people to have access to the trail, that's going to create a problem. There's no room as it is for parking now.
yeah, that's right.
Something were to happen where there is a forest fire around the trail, it's going to not leave a lot of access for emergency vehicles to get down there. That's a concern of mine. Another concern is college kids. This has been a quiet neighborhood. Not only college kids, but homeless people, people out on the trail that may, you know, quote unquote, do their partying or do things that can be dangerous for a neighborhood, bringing things in that we don't want in our neighborhood. That's a big concern of mine. That's something I'm not real happy with. You know, it's been pretty quiet around here. We all know each other. We all look out for each other. And we don't want, you know, other people coming into the neighborhood and, you know, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning hearing things, or going in our backyard and seeing trash, beer bottles, things that do happen eventually with trails. Further down here where they're talking about breeding the trail is where a lot of the wildlife tends to roam, as Darren was talking about earlier. And my biggest point is that another thing is our elderly parents that come to visit, you know, they're not going to be able to come and visit as much because there's not going to be any parking. If all the parking's being used for trail use, then we're not going to have any, you know, our elderly parents who can't get out aren't going to be comfortable coming around. And the same with our neighbors. Not all of our neighbors are young, and I don't feel like that they need that kind of stress. And so that's something that's a concern of mine, is our elderly neighbors that have been here forever. You know, I just don't feel like that's fair to them. And so that, you know, talking about people and their feelings, that's something that means a lot to me as well.